Hello, Andrew. I'm Daniel from England, and my question is how can I get out of bad habits that I've developed in my workflow, and how can I relearn parts which I think are holding me back from getting better? Thank you.
Very good question, Daniel. We've all got them, bad habits, and it's good sign that you've recognized the bad habits and you want to relearn them. When you have developed, a habit, okay, just a habit on itself, it means that you've done something so often that your brain doesn't need to really think about it anymore, right? Like think about the idea of like reversing out of your driveway, okay? You need to get your keys, you got to unlock the door, you got to get in the car, you got to close the door, you got to put your seatbelt on, you got to turn the engine, you got to put your foot on the brake, park, turn the engine on. Then you need to put it into reverse. You need to look in the mirror. You need to go back, whatever. When you've been driving for longer than a couple of years or whatever, you can do that in a daze. You can sometimes find yourself driving and going, I don't even remember. Did I say goodbye to my wife? Did I take my lunch? How did I get here? What was the morning like? I feel like I've been on autopilot. Because that's what a habit is, okay? And your brain is good at that. And it's actually like I talked about it in a few books I was reading, like the development of the brain. Like if we didn't have that, we would not be able to do the things that we do. Everything would be a struggle. In fact, you can look at people that have lost that part of the brain that makes, the habit forming things, and everything is a struggle. It's like they got to learn how to like open a door again, right? Because like the muscles don't know how to move in that, haven't memorized it. It's crazy. It's amazing what the brain does. Anyways, a long way to say, when you have a habit, it means that you are now doing something, you've done it enough that you aren't thinking about it properly anymore. To relearn a bad habit essentially means to stop, first of all. And first of all, check that you're doing it the right way to begin with. And if you know it's a bad habit, it's likely you're not. So just like what I suggested for the past question, go back and watch the source material. Watch the expert book, tutorial, whatever it is, of the person that is teaching it the right way, because there's a lot of steps and it's likely you've forgotten some of them. The second thing is to slow down, okay? If you are, let's say, modeling and you every time you model, you end up with just like ugly looking stuff. And you don't know why it's ugly and you don't really know the correct way to do it. And every time you model something, it comes out ugly. It's likely that you're just rushing through it, right? Because it's probably likely you don't enjoy modeling, which is not unusual. It's almost a mathematical problem more than an artistic one. It's, it's not fun for most people. But so because of that, it's likely you're probably sort of rushing through it. Like I need to model this TV remote so that I can finish the lounge room, and it's a pain. And it's like, that's kind of yucky, or I got to hide it, whatever. But to slow down and think about, how do I get the shape of this TV remote? What are the problems here? And what are the problems down the road if I don't stop and think about it now, okay? If I just start with a cube and then another cube and then do a bunch of, edge loop cuts or whatever, and then take a bunch of the holes out and sort of extrude them in or up, is that going to cause problems when I use a subsurf modifier? Does that matter? Is this the sort of thing that could even just be a texture with the buttons? Maybe I could make it an Apple TV remote and save myself a bunch of time. So I got a few buttons on it. Stop and pause and think about the challenges that are involved there. And am I doing it the correct way? And that's really it. I mean, you've got to force yourself to relearn it. I know this firsthand, like when I've been doing 2D drawings, you rush it. You're like, I know how to do a head. I've done heads before. That's all I do is head. And it feels painful to like do it slowly, okay? But I forced myself to do it recently and to actually like for every brush stroke, stop before I do the stroke and check in relation to measuring it against 3 other things, like from the edge of the ear, the edge of the nose, the edge of the mouth. Is this line where it needs to be? And sadly, 8 times out of 10, it's not. I was about to make a mistake because I was going to rush it, okay? So that is a bad habit. that needs to be relearned. And to do that, you have to stop, you have to slow down and think about what it is you're doing and where you need to be. So I hope that was helpful. I think we got room for another question right at the end of this little podcast here, because I feel like there's going to be a short podcast without it. So let's do another question here, and I'm just going to pick one.